Greetings, Katherine Stickroth here, trauma recovery specialist, grabbing me some alpine time this afternoon. This channel for a life worth living is about PTSD recovery and taking some steps to where naturally and organically we can work through, release, whatever word you want to use, the symptoms of PTSD that are so crippling and debilitating. My concern is that so many people I know that I've been close to and that I've heard of are ending their lives because of the hopelessness that comes from the chronic symptoms of PTSD, and it starts looking hopeless. So I'm hoping that my story here and my process of understanding and the tools I've used is all that I have to share. I hope that they are expressed in such a way that you can try them out yourself and get the results that I and some others I've shared this with personally are enjoying. In 1987, I was diagnosed with PTSD. I protested to the therapist, no, I don't have that. I never served in combat. He said, oh yeah, you got it. The childhood you're describing, you definitely have PTSD. So I then spent the next 13 years trying to prove I did not have it and got progressively worse. Several psychiatric hospitalizations in that span of time. In 2000, I hit bottom again with PTSD symptoms, and 2 Vietnam veterans, one of them my healthcare provider who had been a medic in Vietnam, the other my husband who had also served in Vietnam, pretty much backed me in a corner and made me admit that I had PTSD. That led to another hospitalization and more, let's say, expansive therapies that I just kept trying everything I could find to get past it. I could not believe that this was a terminal condition that would end my life. I just would not give in to that idea. I just wouldn't do it. And I had no reason, I had no evidence that wasn't true, but I just wasn't going to give in to it. So I kept trying. In 2013, I had another crisis, and it was unbelievable. It was unbelievable what happened, and I'll share that story on down the road sometime. But it came to me. I was having the crisis. I was in the crisis, and I was so frustrated because I had done everything I was told. I'd gone to the hospital when I was told. I'd done everything the therapist said. I'd done everything my 12-step people said. I'd taken the medication the psychiatrist said, as directed. I never abused it. And here I was, flipping out of my mind. I was so afraid I would never come back from that. I was so afraid of it. But in the middle of that, it came to me because I was just like, I remember I was driving, I was just beating my steering wheel like, why is this happening? Why is this happening? And it came to me, I heard a voice actually say, why don't you look at it as post-trauma spiritual disorder? Oh, what? Because I had never considered the spiritual component of PTSD. It just never was a part of any consideration that I'd ever heard of. So as I was climbing out of that hole of hopelessness and despair and everything else, I said, you know what, I'm going to have to figure this out, because I couldn't find any hospitals and I couldn't find any therapists that would be willing to listen to my story. There's an aspect to it that they just didn't want any part of listening to and helping me. And I was like, I got to figure this out or I'm not going to make it. So I set some space in my life to explore and like, what does all this mean? So the first thing I did was I did a lot of research on post-trauma stress disorder, as I had been told that was what it was. And we can break that down, in future videos. And so I got an idea about that. And then I was like, okay, what is this? Like, what is this? What does that mean? And I actually came up with some answers that I was like, okay. So that's what this channel is about, sharing the information I found. It's not going to be so much scientific as it is experiential and narrative. And just my own personal story about it. What's happened this past year is through third-party connections, 2 people have come into my life who have needed to hear what I'm doing. I'm sharing it with them, and I mean, they are just moving quickly because they don't have to do the research. It's like, okay, I've been there. This is what I did. If you try it, it might work. And they do it, and it works. And then they're more willing, they're set free. And then something else comes out and say, well, this is what I did when that happened, and I tried this, and these were the results, and they try it, and it works. And so I'm just like, I got to get this out there because there might be somebody online that would benefit from this. So what I hope with this channel, if you will follow through with us, it's gonna be like a journey. In fact, I call it from 2013. It has been an epic journey. It's just been phenomenal. And so we're going to retrace my steps. I'll share my processes, my tools, the stories, how it all came together for me. And I hope you will try putting them in practice and see what happens. I am not a licensed counselor. I'm not in any kind of profession. I am a certified chaplain. That was because I was doing veteran advocacy, and that helped me with what I was doing with that. What I'm saying is I'm not licensed, and I do not pretend to be. I'm just a person with PTSD who has had a lot of success in overcoming a living hell and now having a life worth living. That's what I'll say. So if you can benefit from anything going on here, like, share, comment down below. Let's keep things friendly. Everybody else is already hurting. We don't need to hurt anybody else. Just do a thumbs up. Do a thumbs up if something in this resonates with you. And I hope that you find hope in here. And from the results of these 2 other people, I feel very confident. I feel very confident that anybody with PTSD, or even the ones who love them that don't even know what's going on, that you will find some useful information here. So stay tuned, come back to For a Life Worth Living, and I do believe you will find a life worth living.